All right. Hello, everyone. Today I want to try out structured outputs. This is basically like the V2 of function calling. So traditionally, I use function calling in order to get a structured output from a call to a GPT model. But OpenAI announced structured outputs maybe at I think this dev day, August 6th, 2024. Okay. So they announced structured outputs. They said, like, listen, structured outputs are a way of getting a more reliable output from the model. And they, compared that to using, function calling and also structured outputs with not strict mode, which I guess is also an option. So basically, they're saying if you use structured outputs, you're pretty much guaranteed that the response is going to adhere to the schema. And now structured outputs has like built-in native support for pedantic schemas, which that's really nice because writing a pedantic schema is a lot nicer than writing a bunch of JSON, which is what we've had to do before with function calling. So yeah, that is what I want to try. Oh, let me make this screen bigger here. All right. So goal is try that out. I've got also this Azure OpenAI structured outputs tutorial. I'm going to go through that because it's always good to check and make sure that our documentation works. And I just deployed a GPT 4.0 model version 2024-0806. And it says that that is the version that supports it, GPT 4.0 2024 0806. And also we need this API version. Okay. So let's try this out. And I'll push this repo at the end. All right, so we need to make sure we have the most recent version that has support for it. So that's 0801 preview. And then I've got my environment information in the .env, so that's the deployment name, and this is the OpenAI service that I'm using. All right. And now let's try out their most basic example. So the first thing we need is pedantic, because that's the standard way of defining the structured outputs. I wonder if it also has supports for like data classes and stuff, but maybe it's only pedantic. We'll see. They're pretty into pedantic. So let's see. I'm just going to add pedantic to my requirements.txt, and I've got the little extension that shows me the latest version. Let me also make my screen bigger here so you all see. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and install the requirements. All right, that was easy peasy, real fast. Maybe I already had pedantic. Oh, I already had pedantic because generally I believe OpenAI brings in pedantic, I think. So maybe that's why I already had it. All right, so we got pedantic. And let's try their first example here. So I'll just take the bottom code because I've already got my Azure OpenAI instance here. So let's test this out. So here we've got base model. All right, so let me get the import. So this is from Pydantic. So from Pydantic, we're going to bring in the base model. All right, so we say it's a calendar event. We're looking for the name, the date, and the participants, which is a list of strings. And we're going to replace that with our model name, which we'll get from the environment. That should match. Yep. Okay, and here's the messages. All right, so it says extract the event information for the system message, and then for the user message, it says Alice and Bob are going to a science fair on Friday. Okay, let's see if that works. This is the first time I've actually used structured outputs. All right, so I can see our content safety results. I see, all right, so I see in the choices, the content of the message is a JSON, which has name, date, and participants. All right, so I guess that means what we're supposed to do is pull it out of the JSON. Let's just see if they talk about that, right? Because you get this back, it's in there. All right, and they don't talk about, the optimal way of pulling it out. I'm assuming that we're just supposed to decode that JSON. Let's see what they did here. If message got parsed. Okay. So dot parse. Dot parse. What is dot parse? Dot parse. Oh, that's what we're using. Dot parse. Okay. Oh, so it's going to give us back wrapped over. All right. So this is specifically when using structured outputs. Oh, and they even got a nice little example here. Okay, let's say one from the docs. So if message.parsed. All right, so I guess that's the best practice is, oh, we can pull it out of a parsed, which has it already parsed. All right, that makes sense. I was wondering how we were supposed to pull it. Hey, John. See John in the chat. All right. So let's see. Oh, all right. It looks like John has messed with this. Model validate to make it a class object. Okay. All right. So let's see. Model validate. Class.model validate. So we do. So that's this one. All right. So event equals calendar event dot. Also, I haven't used Pedantic that much. John is actually the one that's used Pedantic, I think, a bit more because I think John fixed up our Pedantic usage on the RAG on Postgres. I think we were using Pedantic there, yeah, because Fast API uses Pedantic quite a bit. Okay. Well, I see a lot of good, happy IntelliSense here. So validate a Pedantic. Come on. Okay, returns the validated model instance. Okay, that's cool. So then, what is it going to look like? Like, what is it going to look like if I run that? Oh, nice. All right. Thank you, John. Do we mention that in here? I wonder if no, we don't. Okay. All right. Well, that seems like the thing you definitely want to do. Do we mention that in here? Nope. Okay. All right. So thank you, John, for being our documentation for today. So that's really nice. So we can go ahead and validate that model and then get it back as a Python class, right? So these are actually attributes, right? If we looked at, like if we inspect this, it's type event, and like, you know, the attras on it would be, did I just make up attras? What is it actually in Python? What's our built-in Python built-in functions? No. Okay, well, we could do dict event or dir. Let's just do dir. Dir will show us everything on the event. Okay, so what we see is that it is a calendar event, and then on the calendar event we see all this pedantic stuff, but we also see stuff like participants, and presumably name is here, and also date is in here. Okay, cool. Okay, so John says it's in the Pedantic doc. So that's fair, but for some people like me, this might be like the first time like you're using Pedantic heavily. So I think it could be nice for us to stick this in our documentation just for folks that are new to it. But yeah, I guess I should go ahead and open. So best practice now is to open the Pedantic docs, since that's what we are using. And here we can find the model validate. Interesting. In general, it says actually to use model performance tips. Oh, use model validate JSON, not model validate. Interesting. All right, so this is just performance tips that I happen to find when I search for that. All right, so cool. So that is working. So now we have a object which has this information. So the next thing I wanted to try was, now that we have structured outputs, like let's do something useful with them. So one thing that we could do is basically like entity extraction, right? And this is something that I do use function calling for right now, but I thought we could try using structured outputs for it, right? So for example, right? So RAG hack was a hackathon that we had, and people submitted their they submitted their repos as issue submissions, and so I actually used function calling in order to extract things from these issues, right? So what I can do is, let me try, let's see, do I have Copilot in here? Chat. Use GitHub API to fetch a public issue from a repo. Let's see. All right. Let's see if that's going to work. Let's do this in a new file here. New file. Touch github.py. Okay. github.py. All right. So the owner is going to be, let's see, Microsoft. The repo is raghack. Issue number 167. And let's see if that's going to work. So I guess for this one, we don't need our GitHub token because it is a public repo. So we got back, all, all of that is the content of the issue. So it looks like it's in the body. What we really need in our life right now is some rich. Let's go ahead and install rich because we keep on staring at JSON and it's just not that pretty. So let's make it prettier. Okay. Rich. I mean, once you go rich, you don't go back. Wait. Problem is I have this auto fix going. So if I import rich but then I don't use it, it's gonna delete it. So let me do, before I press save, make sure I use it. Okay. All right. Oh, that's there. All right, now go ahead and run it. All right, that is so much nicer. All right, so what we can see here, we're just gonna scroll up and look at this. So we got back all this information. The main thing we wanted was the body. So the body has all of that stuff. Okay, so we're just gonna get back the body. So now that I know this works, I'm gonna go ahead and bring it back into here and move these up. Okay, and now let's make a something like a issue class issue, or we'll call it a hack submission base model. Okay, so the things that we want to get off from this is a project name. So that's the same as before. Description. Okay. Now, interesting thing is, can I give additional information here about the description? Because when we were doing function calling, we could give longer descriptions of the arguments. So I'm thinking maybe, is it annotated? So that's something that we need to check the docs for, or maybe John knows how we can say something a one, because here I want to get just a one-line description, not necessarily exactly what they wrote in here, because this is a really, really long description, right? I just want a one line. So John says they have special types. So let's see. Or is it in here? Basically I want to see, how can I give more information about the thing. So annotations. Let's see. I know in Fast API, I thought it was with annotation, but I don't see that as much here. Let's see. Field description. Hard thing is I'm pretty new to Pydantic, so I was trying to figure out what terminology they use for what I'm trying to get. Okay, we're just gonna also ask Copilot. How can I add additional description of a Pydantic field? All right, let's see what else we want. We want technology and languages. Okay. say technologies, list string, based off. Okay. All right. So it says, oh, we use the field. Okay. Oh, that's what we meant by special class. Okay. So we bring in the field. All right. We bring in field and we say we want this to be field. There we go. And we literally dot it. Really? No. Is used it. Okay, let's look at field. Now I see field. Let's look for field. Field class. Pedantic types. And field. Just want field. Okay. I'm not doing that well with this. Field? Nope. Where's just the reference? I just need the reference. API documentation. Base model. Nope. Well, let's go ahead and look at this field. Default. Do we have an example here? Usage docs. There we go. The field function is used to customize and add metadata to fields and models. Perfect. All right. So we got the default. Let's see, a default factory. Oh, you can also use it with annotated. And that's annotated was the way I was thinking it might be. But okay, we've got field dot alias. Okay. All right. So I'm just going for description. And let's see. Doesn't call expression not allowed in type expression. Field description. Interesting. That looks correct. Oh, I opened it up here. Field. It's on the right fields in the menu. Just add the type. String equals field. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just writing bad Python. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So you have to say string equals field. Okay, so this is our basic type annotation. This is actually the same way. This is very similar to how the SQL Alchemy types work with the new SQL Alchemy 2.0, where you start off with your like basic Python type, and then you have this kind of fancier type here, which provides additional metadata for it. Okay, so here I'm going to say like a 1 to 2 sentence description of the project. All right. Okay, so let's try that one. And then repository URL is a string, video URL string, and team members is a list string. Okay. All right, so let's start with that. And yeah, and thanks once again to John for fixing that. All right. So now we are going to move some stuff around here. So extract the information from the GitHub issue markdown about this hack submission. All right. And then we're going to bring all this stuff up here. All right. And then get the body. So if we're we'll just say not equal 200. It's going to be here. It's fine. Okay. Issue body equals response.json body. Issue body. Pipe that into here. All right. And then we want to make sure we're using the right pedantic model throughout. And I want to just change this. Let's just call it output so that we can be more generic here. Ooh, and let's go ahead and use our rich as long as we have it. Okay. All right, let's give this a go. Let's see. Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Here we go. Okay, so we got the submission with the name and description, and it did a nice summary. So that's a cool thing with, using structured outputs, is that we can both, like, pull out kind of the boring stuff, but we can also get it to, do summarization and classification, that sort of thing. All right, let's check the technologies: JavaScript, Python, AI Studio, AI Search, Cosmos Depot, Azure SQL. So how to do that? JavaScript, Python, AI, yeah. So it figured out that the checked boxes were exactly what it should correspond to. Then we got the repository URL, the video URL, and the team members. This looks beautiful. This looks perfect. So that's working well. So basically, like for RagHack, I ran that same code over every single issue, and then I would, write out CSVs, and that's what we used for judging. But now I can do it with structured outputs instead of function calling, and this is actually way cleaner. This is really nice. The other interesting thing is, like, can we do like an enum? And I did see an example of an enum in here. So enum, they're only showing it with, where are they showing? I see it here. Let's just look for like pedantic enum. By enum, I mean, so if you look at these technologies here, I say list string, but that should only be exactly these technologies, right? Oh, I just resorted it, but it should only be the technologies that are on this list. It should be no other technology. So in theory, I should be able to constrain it and say, hey, can we only be Java, .NET, Python, AI Studio, blah, 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 right? So I'm trying to increase the reliability of it here. So let's see. So enum schema, I gotta say, I'm not that good at parsing the pedantic doc. So go ahead and ask Copilot, can pedantic mod, or we can even just try this. Okay. Let's see. Nope. Let's edit with Copilot. I just want inline Copilot. Oh, okay. Make this an enum of only JavaScript or Python. I can fix it to more later. So let's see what it says. Okay, so in this case, it's literally using the Python's enum and saying it's a list of that. Maybe this will work. Let me try it. Okay, and let me also move this enum so it's not just like smack inside the class. So let's try moving it out here and seeing if this is going to work or if this is just totally not allowed. So I do need to add all the other ones in there. So we've got .NET, we've got AI Studio, AI Search, AI Studio, but not spelled that way. AI Search, also completely made up. Okay, AI Search. What else? PostgreSQL, spelled nicely there. Cosmos DB, Azure SQL, and let's go JavaScript. Okay. All right, is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? Okay, so John's saying you can use Python enum or literal for enums. Okay, so we could also try literal too. So hopefully, I also don't use Python enum a whole lot either. So it's always cool to get to use all this new stuff. All right, JavaScript is already fine. It's fair. All right. All right, so this time, hopefully we just get the same result. But that'll be good because it'll mean that it should be able to obey the enum if that works. See if anything else. So that would be the only one. Okay. Well, so this time when it came back, that's really interesting. I didn't actually realize it was going to come back as the enum too. So it looks like it comes back with the enum, and apparently this is the repra, like the representation of enums when you print them out, which makes sense. It's a pretty good representation. So cool. So that worked, and we got it back like really fancy. All right. So far, I am very impressed. All right. So the next thing I wanted to do was like people wanted to know like what about okay, so that one doesn't have a very long readme. I want to look for one with like a longer readme, because some of them had like long readmes that had more information in them. Oh, that looks like my readme. Okay. All right. Let's see if we can find one. AI places, localizer. Okay. That looks like a license. Okay. We're seeing a big variation in readmes here. Let's find this one. All right. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so like this one. All right, so I'm going to try 159. Okay. So 159. All right. So let me just run this on this one, and then I'm going to make a new one. Maybe a new file. All right, so that one, that works. Okay, so there's another one working. So this time I want to do like a repo reader.py. So I actually want to read the entire repo. So can I? All right, so here, well, I can't, like reading the entire repo would be really cool. I don't know how to quickly like read through all the code. I just want to read the README on the repo. So I guess this is, let's see. All right, how can I fetch the readme.md for a GitHub repo? So I don't know if there's like a nice, probably we can just do it with the URL, but there might be like an API endpoint for it, right? Similar to how we're using an API endpoint here. So this one's doing contents/readme. Okay. So let's try this one. All right. So the repo readme. Okay. URL. So this time I'm going to do this and repo readme contents path. Okay. All right. This is also just me getting to use the GitHub APIs. Okay. Contents/ I think this readme.md. Right? Yeah, readme.md. Okay. And here we go. Yeah, I didn't F string that at all. I just straight hard coded it. That's great. Okay. All right. So this time, I could actually try a similar one, like technologies. And then, so here's the thing is that we were interested to see like what frameworks people were using. So I want to add this framework unknown. And this time would be like, you know, like language chain. No. Semantic kernel. It's always fun to see what it makes up when it doesn't know. That's the thing with the AI stuff. Like it really doesn't know about this stuff very much. What are the other ones? Like llama index equals, we'll call this llama index. What are the other frameworks? Dolly? No, not Dolly. Autogen. What it was another. It's funny how it really doesn't know anything about any of these. Dialogue? No, I think you're making that might be one, but I don't think anyone used that one. Oh, Spring Boot. That was a Java one. I just saw that. So we'll do that one. What am I missing here? What else do people use with their orchestration frameworks? Let's see, Prompty. Let's try Prompty. Okay. All right. So we just want to see if they use any frameworks. And yeah, so this time I'm going to do like a repo overview. That's what I'll call it. And this time, so this time I want to do like language separate from like Azure service. That'd be kind of nice. Okay, so AI Studio, blah, blah, blah. All right, so this time it's going to be like languages and Azure services. Okay. All right, and then we get it. And we're going to send the next, this is going to be the new name of it, and we're going to validate and then print it out. All right, let's go ahead and try that out. All right, it says that had a key error. Did it fail to fetch? No? All right, well, let's just print this out and see what we got. Okay, so we got back. Okay, so you get back the content as maybe a data URI. Oh, I see. Yeah, it is a data URI. Okay, so this is what you're supposed to do, is do what Copilot tells me to do, is get back. All right, so readme content. We need to bring in the base 64. Base 64. All right, so we get back the content. So the content equals response.json. We decode. And then we get it. All right, so that's the readme content. Here we go. All right, it's interesting. I guess they wanted to save space. I don't even think that saves space that much, but okay. See if this one's going to work here. So this should work. We're not doing anything much fancier. Just bring in a few more enums there. Now, structured outputs is probably a bit slower. I mean, generally, I find function calling can be a bit slower, right? Because we are passing it a bunch of information. We're passing it the whole schema and saying, hey, you need to like use this schema, use the schema. They did say for structured outputs, there is, I think, some level of caching that happens. Yeah, so the first API response with a new schema will incur additional latency, but subsequent responses will be fast with no latency penalty. This is because during the first request, we process the schema as indicated and cache these artifacts for faster use later on. So typical schemas take under 10 seconds to process the first request. More complex schemas may take up to a minute. So you definitely don't want to be like doing new schemas for every single request, because that's going to be quite slow. I've seen this is still going actually. And here we go. We got it back. All right, so we got our description. It says the language is .NET, services, AI Search, Postgres, AI Studio, frameworks, Spring Boot. So it did a pretty good job of that. Okay, so that is parsing GitHub stuff. Since we're in Python, let's do something else. Like let's do parsing that HTML. That's an interesting one. Let's do this one. Okay. All right, so let me grab a blog post and then do a, let's do beautiful soup to parse it out. So let's see okay, so we get a post title. All right, let's say beautiful, we'll just do this fast. Beautiful soup code to parse an HTML page, Blogger page. Let's see how much it knows about Blogger. How many Blogger examples are out there in the universe? All right, so we're going to go ahead and add another requirements here. We'll add beautiful soup and pip install that. And then we got a nice little example there. And yes, it does know about blog URLs, which is great. All right, and I'm going to, let's see, it says, oh, wait, beautiful soup has beautiful soup 4 at the end. Okay, that one worked. All right. So I'm going to CP the one we just did, repo reader, into blog extractor.py. Okay, blog extractor.py. All right, I'm going to grab this code. And so this time, instead of doing the GitHub fetching, we're going to parse the contents. All right, so I'm actually just going to have it go to a specific URL here. Gets URL. Let's see. And we'll just say if it's not equal to 200, fail and exit. Great. Look at that great indentation there. Okay. And I just need to get the post body. So I think we can just basically change this to just a find. Is there like a find one? Change it for a single blog post. Let's see, what does soup have a find? All find or just find? Just find. Yeah, just find. Okay. Yeah, so just find. All right, so we'll find the title and we'll find the contents. Okay, and then we get the text. So we'll just go ahead and call that on there. Okay, get text. Strip equals true. Okay. All right, so what do I want to extract from here? Probably a summary and some tags, right? So let's see, blog post. It has a title, summary. And we'll do the nice thing we did before. Okay. Tags, list. Let's do an enum again. We're loving the enum now. All right. Or we could do a string and have it do suggested tags. It depends what we're using it for, but let's say Python equals. Let's in this case, let's have it actually suggested, right? And I wonder, can we do a field for this one too? Yeah. With like Python or OpenAI. All right, we'll just see what it suggests, because this could be something that we're trying to use it to come up with tag ideas, right? Let's see, this one should be string equals field. Okay. All right, so now we'll delete these, move these up here to make my linter happy. All right, beautiful soup, blog post, and they're gonna do this and this. Get the post contents, extract the information from the blog post. Sure. All right, now we do blog extractor. And of course, this is a new schema, so it is caching the schema right now. All right, so enhancing. Did it make it? It made up the title for it too. I guess it thinks that it should have a different title. It's probably a better title. Enhancing retrieval augmented generation with images, a multimodal approach. So this blog post goes to the integration, it exports changes to support image data. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. Tags are RAG, multimodal models, Azure AI, image embeddings, and LLM. That's pretty good. I should use this right. I could just use this to get it to write my LinkedIn post too, and then I wouldn't have to write them myself. All right, so that works great. Now for our final pièce de résistance, we should parse a PDF. So let me get a PDF. Let's see. Oh, did Beautiful Soup remove the title? Is that what happened? So John thinks that Beautiful Soup removed the title. Oh, I didn't. You're right, because I didn't even give it the title. All right, so I wonder, is there one that? Let me look if there's just a body, one that has both in it. Okay, I guess the easiest way was to do both. So we do like post title plus post contents, and maybe look at this nice string concatenation without F strings. Okay, let's do it nicer. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. We could even like do a little markdown action, but let's see. Okay. All right, there we go. And hopefully it's faster this time, because it should have already been cached. Okay, and we got a bunch of different tags the next time. So integrating vision into RAG application. That is indeed my title. Okay. All right. So that's the thing, like it'll make up whatever you tell it can make up, but it also will constrain, right? So in this case, I told it to go wild with the tags, but I could also feed it the tags that already exist and it would constrain itself to it. So that's really, really nice, is that we can get like kind of a mix of, how much structure and how much flexibility we want to give it, because we can do that constraining to enums. All right, cool. Thank you, John. Yeah, I know, easy schema. So let me find, do I have a PDF that would be hard? let me see what PDFs I have and try not to find like too many personal ones here. Let's see. Got lots of receipts. Well, receipt would be a kind of a interesting one to do, wouldn't it? Oh, you can see how much my Python stickers cost. Okay. All right. Why don't we try this receipt? Because that's kind of like a cool use case, right? So yeah, I did splurge on Python stickers, but they're really cool stickers. Where are they? Down here. I mean, you would splurge too, right? Look at this. So cool. Okay. All right. So let's do a PDF reader. All right. So blog extractor, PDF reader.py. All right. And I only have 10 minutes, so I have to pick up my kid. So once again, we're going to ask Copilot to, probably we're going to use PyMu PDF, right? PyMu PDF. And they even have one specifically for LLMs now, which is interesting. Where's the one for LLM? PyMu edit. So they have this. Oh yes, they've got like integration. So what they have for PyMu PDF is like outputting something, the markdown, because LLMs do work so well with markdown. So maybe we want this one actually. So PyMu PDF for LLM is a high level. Okay, let's try it. So PyMu PDF for LLM. All right. Never ever used this. I have used PyMu PDF, but never the this new one for LLM. It's very new. Okay. And then let me go ahead and upload. Wait, let me see if there's anything personal in here. Not really. Oh, well, my address. Okay. All right. Well, I'll strip it out before I push this, but let's go ahead and upload it. Okay. All right. Good. Okay. And then did I copy this? All right. So let's do this. All right. So this claims it's like really easy. So let's see if it's right. Let's just do this in the Python console for now. And I'm going to say it is receipt stickers python.pdf. Okay. Okay. And what is MD text? Okay. So looks pretty good. That's cool. I think it turned like the receipt table into a markdown table, which is really good because tables are one of the hardest things to deal with. All right. So I think that's working. All right, let's see, PDF reader. I'm just gonna make this file name shorter because it's a little long right now. Okay, receipt. All right, cool. So I'm gonna go here and then easy peasy. Add this import to the top here, ditch that. And then what do we want to get from our receipt? So what would be a good thing in a receipt? Would be like the total. And what else? Like shipping cost. Yeah. Is it going to say 0? Payment method. Items. Oh yeah, thank you. Items. And I guess that's going to be list string. You could get really fancy with items, right? Depending on it. Oh, this one has like item quantity, right? So each item could be a nested class. So maybe we should try that after. Order number. I see order number. Okay. And order number is it's actually do we want to use a string or do we want to use a big int for that? Let's see if we can do it as an int. Okay. Cool. I'm kind of giddy. See what these will look like. Okay. So we're going to do receipt and validate. All right. Let's see, blog extractor. Oh, and I like, all right. Well, I did everything in the blog one, but that's fine because that means PDF now is the blog one. That's okay. All right. So there's no such file input. That's fine. It should be receipt.pdf. Okay. Okay, total 242.05. Shipping 00. Credit card items, and it did the item really nicely. Actually, that's a nice summary of the item. And then order number, it did a beautiful job. Now we have 6 minutes, so let's try seeing what we can do with those items to see if we can do like an embedded class. John can tell me if I'm making something up here, but let's see. So each item, we're just going to do like the quantity. Yeah, quantity. I don't think they actually did. This one doesn't have like a per item. Oh yeah, it does have a per item price. Okay. So product, quantity, price. So we'll have like, we'll say product, quantity, and price. Okay. So then is this going to work? List item. Dun, dun, dun. Let's find out. Oh, John says you can, we use it all the time. Okay. Cool. All right, John. So what else are you using this for, John? What else should we be using this for? Because I want to show like all the ways that people can be using structured outputs, because I don't think people are realizing. Now the other thing I'm not showing is that we could basically use structured outputs with or function calling to build an agent, because like the whole thing is like an agent is something making a structured decision. And so you can say, hey agent, these is like the input. What's the next, what's the next action to take? Right. So if you think of, instead of like getting an object, but getting like your list would be like a possible, like a, your enum would be like what action to take next. That would be a basic way of building an agent. So maybe that's another thing to add here. All right. So what did we get? Yeah, we got it. This is so cool. I shouldn't be so shocked that this works. Now, the interesting thing is I'm doing this all with GPT-4o. I wonder how well it works with GPT-4o mini. And if you get as good a quality. Oh, well, this wouldn't work with, so Azure actually only supports it for GPT-4o. So I don't know if it's coming to mini or if it's already in mini for OpenAI, but for Azure, it's only GPT-4o. Okay, well, that worked. I'm trying to think if we could build like a quick agent. We need like a scenario. Let's see, make an agent, BI agent. Oh, we're not doing BI here. What are we talking about? Okay, agent. Okay. All right. So let's see. An agent is basically being like, all right, action to take. And the action's going to be like an enum. All right. So trying to decide how I want to do this. Okay. So decide whether to do a search or whether to summarize a document. All right, and he says, fine. Oh, give me an overview of file of the latest meeting notes.docx. Okay. Search of our documents or whether to summarize them. Okay, so the user says that. And then we want to know either whether it should do action base model. Yeah. Okay. Almost want to use, I do kind of want to use function calling for this. So you can use also function calling with structured outputs, and you just say, yeah, let's try this. Okay. So this is kind of nice. All right. So we're going to say like, okay, so one of the functions is going to be summarize document. Okay. And that one's going to take a, file name. And here we go. And then the other one is going to be class search documents. And that's just going to take a query. Perfect. Love it. Okay. Done. All right. So what we're doing, we're giving it two possible functions it can call. And instead of saying response format, in this case, so we do this a little bit differently. So we're doing create. And we're doing tools equals tools. Okay. And so then what we get back out is the function to call. I don't know, maybe John knows if there's a nice, can we also do a validate on this one at some point? I don't know. Because this is using our like old function calling, except with this kind of structured output upgrade. Do we need to say like strict equals true? I guess it'll just fix it when it does this. Okay. I don't see anything else different here. Okay. All right. So then we're going to get the completion. Okay. All right. So let's try an agent. Oh, client.beta. Okay. Probably not beta. Probably just this one. Yeah. I didn't realize that there was, I hadn't realized this whole time we were using client.beta, which is interesting. I don't think I'd seen that before. Okay, so it says that we should call the, actually it kind of came back as, what is that? Is that function from Pydantic? No, that's from probably the OpenAI SDK. Yeah. So here we can say like, okay, so then you can be like, so how do we make this into a function? We just say like, okay, the function name equals dot function dot name. And then we say, okay, if name equals, summarized document, otherwise function name. Yeah, if function name else, if function name equals search documents, right? And we like, okay, summarizing, blah, searching, blah. Okay. Let's try that out. Function object has, function dot file name and just function dot query. Yeah. Okay. And in this case, okay, function object. So summarize document dot function dot, okay. Let's go ahead and print this out. So what you should do when you're using rich is do from rich import print, because then every time you use print without thinking about it, you'll have the nice rich print. Okay, so we got function arguments. Oh, sorry, it's in the arguments. Yeah, we got to extract it from the arguments. Okay, so then we also get the function args, and that's in arguments, and that is a JSON. So we got a JSON. This is what I was wondering if there was a nicer way of doing this now. So we got to do a JSON.loadS. We need to go ahead and import JSON up here. Okay, JSON.loadS. All right, function args. And now in the function args, that's a dictionary. Yeah, that's a dictionary. All right, let's see. Okay, so then that one, that works. Summarizing latest meeting notes.docx. Oh, so it's it decided that the file name was latest meeting notes.docx. Yeah, I guess maybe. I was a little confused there. So give me an overview, like, all right, search, what's the whistleblower policy for our company? Okay. So if we do that one, what's the agent going to decide? Because lots of people ask searching whistleblower policy. Perfect. Because people ask like, oh, how do we like take this RAG and make it agentic? Well, this would be the first thing to do is just to like add on an additional tool to the initial query writing step. And that tool can decide on other things that you might want to do, like summarizing a particular document, right? All right, so we made a patient, we made an agent, we extracted from PDFs, from web pages, from GitHub issues. So that's really cool. All right, so John says that you can try to define a var inside class with a type union to class and model validate. Okay. All right, so maybe we could validate on the functions. I'd have to do a little exploration. I do have to head out now. But thank you so much, John, for all the pedantic insight there and for sharing all your expertise. I think it's pretty late where you are. And yeah, this is great. I'm really excited about structured output. I'm excited for us to have it a little bit more available because it's in a little bit less regions than the other ones, but that should be changing really soon. So hopefully we can start using structured outputs a lot more and get more reliable output. All right, bye.